knock this one out in closed session, and then we'll move on. All right, it is 5:30. Welcome everyone to the Roseville Joint Union High School District Board meeting. Call to order. We have 4 of the 5 of us here with the last person en route. Do we have a motion to adopt our agenda?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposed. That carries. This is the time on our agenda for public comment. We have no members of the public present, so we will adjourn to closed session. So anyone who's not supposed to Welcome, everybody. Glad you could join us for our September 10th board meeting. First thing I'd like to do is invite you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Let's see, just prior to this meeting, the board met in closed session on item 2.1 upon motion by Board Member Hall, second by Board Member Coleman. The board approved a settlement agreement we approved a settlement agreement for case number 20240711055. The board vote was 4-0 with one member absent. And there's no other reportable action from closed session. We'll now go over our meeting protocols. The board always enjoys having members of the public with us and having them comment and engage on our different items on our agenda. You'll have a couple of different opportunities to engage. If you want to speak on something on the agenda, let us know and we'll call for public comment with each agenda item. If you want to speak on something that's not on the agenda, let us know, and we'll have a separate section where you can speak on anything that's not on the agenda, but within our board's jurisdiction. We do request civility in the use of courteous language. The board does not condone the use of profanity, vulgar language, gestures, or any other inappropriate behavior, including personal attacks or threats directed towards any meeting participant and/or district employee. I forgot to say, if we have 9 members or less speaking on an item, you'll have 3 minutes to address the board. If we have 10 or more, that time will be reduced to 90 seconds. If you have a complaint about a specific employee or employees of the district, those complaints should be made to that employee's immediate supervisor or the school site principal as outlined in our board policies and administrative regulations. We do have speaker cards if you want to speak. Please fill one out. You don't have to. If you don't fill one out, just make sure you catch my attention at the time I call for public comment. This meeting is being audio and video recorded, streamed on the internet, and will be archived. We will now move to our reports and communications. Our first item on there is our board expectations, with which board member Franz will share with us.
Okay. Our board expectations: prepare all students for life, college, and career with high-quality academic opportunities for all students, and supporting our student academic success. Engage in partnership with families and the community. The school is a welcoming, safe environment that serves as the center of student learning, activities, athletics, and performing arts. Promote a sense of community in our schools and the surrounding areas. 3, utilize effective governance and business practices. Remain open, transparent, and accountable to the community, and serve as the employer of choice with the highest quality teachers and staff.
Thank you very much. Our next item on the agenda is our board member reports. We might as well just start with you, Marla, and work our way back this way.
I'm going to pass this time.
You were too busy traveling.
I was gone a long time.
Well, we're glad you made it home safely. Tiffany.
Yes. Okay, so I have 3 items I wanted to report on. The first was a great visit that I had to Oakmont High School, and I'm repping Oakmont tonight with my Unleash the Viking Spirit t-shirt. So I totally got into it and was so grateful for all that Principal Boljan is doing at Oakmont. It was so exciting to be there. Went into math classrooms, saw the building thinking classrooms in action, and the kids were loving it. Talked to them about it. Went into culinary, and I even got a lunch from the culinary department, which was very good. Construction tech was super fun. They're building sheds, and they're going to be selling their sheds, and I thought that was a brilliant idea as they're trying to raise money in that department. I had no idea about the special ed department at Oakmont High School that they had, and I was so impressed, and I got to see some of those students preparing coffee and taking it out and delivering it on campus, and it was really, really cool. Have you seen that before? Is that why? Yeah, it was really neat. I was so impressed. So I just really loved my visit at Oakmont High School, and I might catch that Viking ship whenever it takes off. I will be on it. I also got to visit Roseville High School, and I love Roseville High School. I just think it is a gem in our community. Absolutely love it. Principal Saren said that their motto this year is writing a new book. No, writing our story. That's what it is, writing our story. And just the way she presented it and her vision that she had, I loved it. Saw the beginning of the modernization that's happening on the campus, and I was so good at embarrassing one of the students there. I was like, I'm an expert at that. It was a family friend, and I don't think he'll ever talk to me again. So that was great. And I just wanted to acknowledge in both of these visits, seeing the growth of the building thinking classroom and how each of the sites has just embraced that concept and has been so grateful for it. And I can see that the students are. I hope some of the students out here have been doing building thinking classrooms. Do you guys even know what that is? Maybe not in Gov. Okay, well, I shouldn't have asked that question. So anyway, those were my reports.
Thank you. I have very little to report other than the biggest regret I have for my students graduating, my own children, is I can't embarrass them on campus anymore because I too enjoy that. Now, the good news is 3 of them now go to the university where I teach, so I get to embarrass them there. So I have not really done anything related to the board since the last board meeting because as a professor at a university, we started our instruction, and I have been dealing with the first few weeks of school there, and now shifting my attention back here to the schools in our district. So you'll be seeing me on campus soon. Come on in, you guys.
Yeah, you're wanting to come in.
Yeah, that's okay. We got a seat up front. I'm sure there's a couple seats. If not, we can probably grab a chair from the hallway and bring it in. Yeah. Take a knee, sit on the floor, whatever you like. Heidi.
Okay. All right. So I got to take a really fun visit of West Park High School, which I always think of as mini college, because I always feel like it's a college campus. And we focused our tour on some of the CTE classes. I felt right at home, like actually felt right at home in the video game design class. Because it would be something my 3 boys would really be into. I thought that that was a fun and innovative class, and it was the first level class, so they were making actual games out of paper and blocks and pieces, just learning video game strategy. So that was interesting, and we got to see some of the biomedical presentations, and Dr. Coutu and I learned about DNA replication and antibiotic resistant bacteria, and we learned a lot in our presentation. The kids were just presenting to the rest of the class, so that was fun. We popped into the dual enrollment kinesiology class, which is new out at West Park, and that was right up my alley. And then the graphic design, where we were able to see that with the help of the student government, the photography class, and the graphic design students all making the banners, the nice, like on a thick, it's not vinyl, it's like like nice banners that they used to have to buy somewhere else. The students are able to make everything from start to finish to use at the ginormous football game that was happening that night. So
Sure it wasn't vinyl?
it might be vinyl, but it was nice. I mean, it was really nice, high quality things that the students were making in collaboration with multiple classes. So it was just a great visit. And next on my schedule is Wood Creek High School. So that was about it.
I don't have much. Only I'm looking forward to this Friday's football game with West Park and Wood Creek. Coming from West Park and now being at Wood Creek, it's gonna be a lot of fun. And I know last week the football game at West Park was off the hook. I mean, I've never seen a high school football game with a line clear out through the front gate. Parking is a nightmare. They're parked in the streets, like down the neighborhoods, all back behind the park. I mean, everybody is there. Talk about bringing a community together. That is truly inspirational. And then I almost felt like I was walking into a college when they're like, clear bags, clear bags. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I mean, yeah. So it's becoming first rate, super fun. So this Friday, I'm sure will not disappoint as well.
Well, I didn't get to go to that game, but I could hear every part of it from inside my house because I live close by. Didn't even have to open the windows, and I could hear almost every play. So with that, we are going to move to our most important board members, our student board members, for their reports. Yeah, make sure you turn your green button on.
Okay. Hi again, my name is Mia Andrade. I'm a senior at Antelope High School, for those of you that don't know. At Antelope High, we've had our first Welcome Back Spirit Week, which went really good. We were really shocked our freshman class participation was through the roof, which was very surprising because obviously they're a freshman class. Our amazing girls flag football team is currently undefeated, which is very exciting. At the end of this month, the Sacramento County voter registration and elections is staging a mock election at our school. Students will be instructed on how to fill out a registration form, vote a mock ballot with contests, and experience firsthand the importance of voting. The mock election experience also provides students with knowledge of the election process so they feel comfortable and motivated to participate when they turn 18. We have our financial aid information night with our counselors this Wednesday, the 11th, to make sure all of our seniors and senior parents are prepared and are able to learn and ask questions. Friday the 13th, our Polynesian Club will be performing at our Antelope Meadows School for all of the elementary school kids to stay connected with our community. We just had our Antelope Kids Dance Camp at our football game where a bunch of little kids come and perform with our dance team, which was super cute and super fun. And then today in student government, we picked our Antelope High School homecoming theme, which we will be able to announce next board meeting. But we have a late homecoming this year in late October, which is very exciting. So we're very excited for our night rally and very happy that we get to continue our fireworks show at halftime. So yeah, that's it for us.
All right, so I will start out with student government. We have chosen our homecoming theme as Vegas hotels. Each of our classes have selected a Vegas hotel of their choice as a sub-theme ranging from New York to Mandalay Bay. We just had our first Spirit Week of the year with the seniors in first place, followed by juniors, freshmen, and sophomores. Seniors on top, man, you know how it is around here. As a couple of you just mentioned, we just had our Roseville versus West Park football game, which was like a really big success. A lot of people showed up, and I'm glad a couple of you got to witness the parking that we have to deal with every single day. So this Friday, we do have our football game against Wood Creek, which is part of our newly introduced 747 rivalry put together by our athletics department. If you're planning to attend, I strongly recommend getting tickets beforehand. But other than that, that's really all I have. Compared to my last meeting, this one was a breather.
All right, and now moving to this side with our superintendent and cabinet member reports. John.
All right. Last week, I had the opportunity to visit with Wood Creek staff during lunch and enjoyed that time with them. I had most of their special education staff in there, and it's always just a treat to be able to sit down with them and hang out and see what's going on or meet some people that I haven't met before, so that was exciting. Also attended last Thursday and Friday the California High Schools Coalition. It's superintendents of high school districts throughout the state of California, talking about all things high school. When we get those K-8 people out of the way, then we can just focus on the real work of high schools. The two things that stood out the most, one from the board perspective, is all throughout the state, we're all feeling the encroachment on local control and the mandates and policies coming down. So there's a lot of conversation around that topic with our legislative lobbyists. And then the other conversation that was extensive was trying to work with our legislature to increase our LCFF funding for high schools by 15-20%. We're funded at what middle schools do, and knowing that high schools have so much more we have to offer, perform, and do, and from facilities to staff to activities, that we really need more money to do those successfully. And so that was a big topic. Next week, I am part of the National Federation of State High School Associations, NFHS, our Western Region meetings, where it's superintendents to athletic directors to state directors from the Western Region, Alaska, Hawaii, and the Western states, talking about all things high school athletics and student activities. which includes band and speech and debate in there as well. So it's always a good time to sit down and pick the brain of people from other states to see what they're dealing with, see if we have similar challenges, or hopefully they have some better answers. So it's always good to meet with them. And then last, for our students out there, because I've been asked this about 5 times just this week, AB 3216, smartphones, that's going to the governor and he intends to sign. I'll just say that there's been very limited discussion on that. And I want to really remind people that it's not banning, it's limiting. If you read the language, it's limiting the use of smartphones. We could all limit the use of smartphones in our lives, but it doesn't mean banning. And we all know that high school students, especially in the higher end, 17, 18-year-olds, we have jobs, we take care of siblings, we got things going on where there are times where that phone is essential. And so we will be working, the board will be working, staff will be working. We have until January 2026, I believe it is, or one of those, but to come up with a policy. We have to have a policy, but my guess is it's going to look like most of your classrooms look today. You know, most of your classrooms probably have put it away until class is over, but there's no ban in it, it's limit. And so people get a little concerned, as I've been asked this week by some students. Just wanted to get that out there. We'll start conversations, but I don't think you're going to see much change in your world outside of it now has to be a district policy. So that's all I have.
Well, that was a great example of taking away our local control as a school board and our sites that usually should be able to decide those things. John, did you miss something about some new role you have with CIF? Don't you have something that you need to report?
Yeah, a new role started in July as president of the CIF State Executive Committee, which essentially is now I go to the role of board member. So I am Pete Constant, but at CIF of the Executive Committee, and it's an elected body of 13 members from around the state of California, as well as a federated council, which has about 80 members representing the state of California. So it's exciting to play the role of board member now. So
Great. Thanks for taking our voice out there into the world. 2.
All right, 2 things to share this evening. I put it in our board report last Friday, but wanted to share here in this space, especially for our students in the audience, as well as for our families listening. We in our CTE department have curated 70 different internship opportunities with 70 different organizations in the different industries in this great city, as well as this great county. Those applications will be coming public to our students and families beginning September 23rd and will close on October 20th. We're encouraging as many students as possible to apply for our internships. Some basic requirements: you do have to have completed at least 2 CTE pathway courses. But as you know, these internships are highly valuable because, of course, we, with our employer partners, will support you to gaining those highly sought-after employability skills so that you are prepared not only for the next phase, post-secondary or post-high school, but also will gain those critical interviewing skills, as well as building your resume opportunities, as well as just learning to work with peers and collaborate with adults in these industries that you might be interested in. So please look for that invitation in Parent Square that we will be sending out soon. And then secondly, in our efforts to also support our freshman parents, we will be providing a series of Canvas trainings for our families starting next Thursday. It will be via webinar as we've done last year. And then, of course, to support our system, we will be providing a beginners session, primarily to support our freshman families. And then we'll also be offering advanced sessions to support, of course, our sophomore to senior families who have had experience as a parent and specifically at the Parent Observer account. So much kudos to Mike Fisher and his team for supporting that work. Thank you.
Joe. Perfect report. Mel.
Just 2 things. Last night, the Student Services team hosted our first of 4 parent safety forums at Antelope. The topics discussed included what to expect during an emergency event, which unfortunately was a timely discussion, We went over our description of Standard Response Protocol, otherwise known as SRP, if you've heard that abbreviation, Catapult, and Parent-Student Reunification. Additionally, we discussed our Behavioral Threat Management Assessment and Management, otherwise known as BTAM, as well as a discussion on suicide awareness and prevention for families, since September is actually the National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So we had a handful of moms, I'll say all moms, but we had a great discussion with them last night, so I appreciate them. And they said they would join us at the next one too, so I think we've got them hooked. This month is National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and as required by AB 2246, we will be addressing and providing training on suicide awareness and prevention to our teachers and students at all of our sites, as well as providing awareness activities through our wellness centers. The training will provide our students with the knowledge of how to identify the signs or symptoms of someone who is struggling with suicide, and will be made aware of the resources to help either themselves or a peer who is possibly struggling and needs support. Thank you.
Thank you. Brad?
I'm going to attend the High School Coalition group for HR that John was referencing earlier on, and the primary focus is going to be around Title IX, the new 2024 regulations, the impact it's having on school districts, and sharing of best practices. I'll have a little bit more, share that with Rob when we come back as well. The second thing is, I shared it with you in your Friday update, but we received a 25-26 draft calendar from RSCA. It's been vetted with district leadership. It's been vetted with our partner districts as well. It's very similar to this year's calendar. Don't expect to be any major changes suggested, as well as our partner districts are coming very much in alignment with ours. There are a couple of unique things with a couple of the districts. So I plan on bringing that to the board next month so that we can get a calendar adopted, which helps our partner districts move forward with their planning, as well as the rest of us in terms of just planning for not this school year, but next school year.
Thank you. Aligning those calendars has been a priority of the boards on both ends for quite a while. Before we move on to the next, I know we have a lot of students here. I assume you all need to get something signed saying you were here, right? Okay, just so you know, any of us, if you're a district employee, raise your hand so they know. Any of us with our hands up can sign your papers. So when the time comes, you all just got voluntold that you get to sign people's papers. That doesn't mean you get to cut out early, but when the time is, you don't have to wait. You can just grab somebody. We're going to move on to the consent calendar. Before I call for a motion, I just want to make note on item 5.3. You know, we have a standing item where we note where we have to accept donations, and I want to point out we have over $7,000 in donations, and one of them significant, a $5,000 donation to Roseville High School Athletics for their stadium scoreboard from Lund Construction, Kevin Lund in particular, and then a donation of a little over $2,100 to Roseville High School student government from Jay Fouch, I believe. So I just think it's important that we recognize people and let them know we appreciate what they do for all our students. With that, do we have anybody who wants to pull anything on the consent agenda? Oh man, I got ahead of myself again. All right, no committee reports because we haven't met. Natalie, the Natalie report.
I know, so I was like, he did not. Oh my gosh. Okay, fair enough. Well, it's been 3 months since I've talked, so you get excited.
That's why I wasn't expecting anything.
Okay. No, it's been a really wonderful start of the school year. It's been one of those, I want to knock on wood because it's just things kind of go and play. It feels like almost a sense of normalcy, whatever that means anymore. I will say with that is I appreciate at the end of the year I met with Mr. Becker about the visions for this year, and I want to say is what he was saying was actually seeing happen. Visibility, coming out at sites, seeing many people come out and visit, making connections, and just seeing, to be able to see and hear what's being said at meetings is actually working through it, continuing that collaboration that we have and that wonderful working relationship. We greatly appreciate, and I even appreciate we had at service meetings where everybody was on the team, and it was just really a wonderful sit down. It just makes you kind of like take a breath of fresh air and realize, okay, we're doing something really great. We're working in a really great district. We're just trying to move forward and just kind of not completely change the system, just make it a little bit stronger and better. And I appreciate that. We hear a lot about building thinking classrooms. Fantastic. One thing I want to say is thank you is when you implement something is if you also back it with resources, it goes a long way. So when you provide a new concept where kids are up and moving on whiteboards and this, that, and markers, we know. However, it's beginning of the school year. Is this a sustainable model moving forward? Do we still have those resources? Because we know, like Granite Bay, you ran out of paper last year, so I mean, I totally understand. As long as we don't run out of toilet paper, I think we'll be okay. Okay. That's a whole other story. Anyways, okay. With that, so as with leadership and building thinking classrooms, it's a new strategy. And as educators, we hear lots of strategies coming in. And I know we're always thinking of new ways of embracing these strategies and also helping, moving, and molding teenagers to a whole new thinking level. And I learned sometimes they know things that I don't know, and I feel like I'm always the same age of like 24. All right, I'm 25. But the point of the matter is they know things when you see AI and all of that kind of come and change. But with that is as you back this and you go and we see these implementations of these new strategies, we also have a lot more other things on our plate as well, learning Canvas and building that in. There's lots of things moving. And when you go out and visit our classrooms, it's a small window of time because you also ask us to be very vulnerable. As we're building things like classrooms, you're managing a herd of cats within a classroom, and I mean the best term, like students, okay, sorry, is also that sometimes we have to embrace our failures. And with that, I ask for encouragement. Is with this encouragement, please maintain those connections with teachers. Talk about it. If you have a vision where you want our district to go back to those teachers inside those math, English, science, history, even visual art classes, performing arts, all that, and ask them what else they need. We have a wonderful working relationship, and we really think we are on a road to go to excellence, but don't forget about us, because we really are here to help maintain what we've built in this greatness. So thank you.
One thing before you sit down, Natalie. So you knocked on wood, but it's plastic. We do have a construction tech CTE that can help you determine the difference between the two. Yeah. So, thank you, Natalie. Public comment. I almost forgot public comment as well. I told you how much I looked forward to it, and then I skipped right over it. Anybody want to address the board? I don't have any cards. Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Now, as I was saying before, we have a consent agenda. Would anyone like to pull any items off the consent agenda? Seeing no interest there, does anyone like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
We are going to do roll call. Jace?
Yes.
Mia?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, that passes unanimously. We're now going to move on to our action matters. Our first one is a public hearing and adoption of resolution number 2414, assurance for fiscal year 24-25 instructional materials. So the first thing we are going to do is open the public hearing to see if we have any members of the public that would like to address us on this issue. I do not have any cards. Would anyone like to address us? Seeing none, let's take a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close the public hearing.
And a second.
Motion to close the public hearing.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
None opposed. Public hearing is closed. We now have this resolution. Is there anything that staff would like to tell us before we take action on the resolution?
It's a resolution in front of you to certify that we have the appropriate number of instructional materials in our classrooms.
Any questions from board members? Do we have a motion to adopt this resolution?
I'll make a motion to adopt this resolution.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion second. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we'll take a roll call vote. Jace? Yes. Mia? Marla?
Yes.
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 Carrie? Yes. That passes unanimously. Our next item is item 6.2, the fiscal year 2023-24 unaudited actual revenue and expenses. Joe.
Yep. All right, we're going to put up just one of the documents up on the screen for you, but the unaudited actuals are we've completed finalizing our books for 23-24, and we're not looking at necessarily the multi-year projections, but just closing out the books for 23-24, and so we have a number of variances, things that we have to actually finalize, and the next step of this process is we have auditors who continue to come back, and they're going to provide us audited financial statements. So they look through all of our numbers and determine that, make sure all of our financials are correct. So this one document kind of summarizes the main differences from when you last saw our budget and some of the actuals. So I'm not going to go over every item. Happy to answer any questions if the board would like on any specific item. But I'll just point out a couple. One, the largest one on the revenue side you see is $659,000 is lottery revenue. The state kind of gives us an estimate on lottery revenue, but we don't really know until the year has come and gone, so we're kind of playing with an estimate. And so historically, the state gives us a lower number, but then more people buy lottery tickets. And one item that I will notice that's been helping us get more revenue is it's based on your total enrollment in the district, but it's across the whole state of California. And so when you see across California a number of school districts declining enrollment, and we're actually growing in enrollment, when the pie, even if it stayed the same, we're going to get a larger percentage of that. So we're starting to see more of that where our lottery revenue is coming in a little bit higher, which is kind of nice. And I'll point out a couple items on the expense side, which is the second half. We have the large dollar amount are different site and categorical carryovers. So those items we don't put as available to fund balance because those are dollars that we're expected to spend in 24-25 next year. So if, for instance, we have categorical programs where money has to be spent on a specific thing, and so we're not free to spend it on anything. And so when we haven't spent it all that year, we plan to spend it in the future year. With that, also I'll point out the percentages you see on the right, the 0.8% and 0.96. While to your budget or my budget, $3 million in savings may seem like a lot. When we're talking about close to a $200 million budget, it's actually less than 1% of our revenue and less than 1% of our expenditures. And we try to be a little conservative because we'd rather come with additional savings at the end of the year as opposed to, a few $1 million in the hole that we now have to make up in the future year. So one item I'll point out is with that $3 million, we have the board reserve policy is that 25% of our savings each year go into our pension trust fund. So that's approximately $750,000. So with the savings, we're able to put another $750,000 into our pension trust, which is great news as well. And with that, I was open it up for any questions and then ask for board approval.
Great. Do we have any board questions?
I did.
Turn your light.
Oh, sorry. Trying to move that closer. I'm trying to find where it was in here because I think if you would just explain, it says that, let me look at the other notes. Some of it's non-spendable. Just tell us why that is.
Yeah, the best example I can give is that first one, the fair market value adjustment. That's really an accounting maneuver. It's not actual additional cash. So what that is at the end of June 30th, the amount of money that's in the county treasurer, they look at what investments they're in, what is the actual, let's say we had $10 million in the bank. Well, they will look at what's the actual fair value of that. And let's say instead of $10 million, it's $10,447,000. So we have to do an accounting entry that shows it has an additional $447,000. Now that doesn't mean I have an extra $447,000 to spend. So that's one that's really a non-spendable. That's a an accounting adjustment. Sure.
All right, I will tell you, I do know that the auditors are working on the audit because they called me and asked me a whole bunch of questions.
Okay, good.
They will do that periodically. If you're a board member, you could possibly get a call where they're asking you questions related to the audit. Anyone from the public like to speak on this? I saw Craig's hand go up. I was going to call him. All right. With that, do we have a motion to, oh, wait, yes, we just approved this, right?
Yep.
Motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. Our next item is our GAN limit authorization, which is resolution number 2415. Joe.
Yeah, this is really an item that is required by every school district and government agency each year. It's a little confusing, but essentially the state of California has a GAN limit, and in order for them to meet their obligation, they require us to submit our appropriations estimate from last year, as well as, or our final numbers from last year, as well as our estimate for the current year. So this is a process where we essentially certify the amount of money that the state gives us and tell them back to what we have. And so it's kind of an exercise we have to do each year, but it doesn't really have an impact on us other than reporting it to the state.
Any questions on the GAN limit authorization? Any members of the public like to speak on this? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the GAN appropriations limit?
Motion to approve.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That is also unanimous. We are now going to move into our informational items. 7.1, which is our AP IBDE Access and Achievement Data Presentation. Welcome.
Okay, while our PowerPoint is coming up, this evening, Amy and I will partner together to share with you just our updated data as it relates to access and achievement of our AP, which is our advanced placement, IB, our International Baccalaureate, and DE programs, our dual enrollment programs. And as you know, these are our college level courses in which we have written in our LCAP and in which we have aimed to make good on our promises for our community. So this evening, we ground our presentation in two documents here. Whoops, what am I doing wrong here? This way?
Sometimes it just takes a second for them.
There you go. A document very familiar to you, our board expectations. As you know, one of our first board expectations is around preparing our students for life, college, and career readiness. And so, of course, that's what our intent is in providing college-level courses for our students. Again, our second document that we will be grounding our presentation and data this evening is in our LCAP. Our LCAP Goal 1, as you will recall, that you helped us to pass in May, is around college, career, and life readiness. And that is indeed what offering our students these college-level courses does. It prepares our students for college, career, and life readiness. We did want to highlight for you that in our Goal 1 of our LCAP, 2 of our 5 significant actions are around, of course, offering AP and IB offerings, as well as dual enrollment course offerings, as well as a pathways attached to those dual enrollment course offerings. And now Amy will share with you some specific data as we have named in our metrics from our LCAP Goal 1, starting with IB.
Okay, good evening. I just want to kind of ground our presentation in knowing that this is a very high-level overview of our data. And just for the purposes of time this evening, we're just going to give you just a quick synopsis and a 3-year data trend on 3 of our programs. It also will help in preparation for our mid-year LCAP report that we are required to report to the board in January. So instead of bringing all the data at once in January, we're going to kind of give you little pieces at a time, and then that way allows for more dialogue. And then if there's further discussion or inquiry, then it allows us to be able to prepare that information for you. So IB course data, so you'll see a 3-year trend. The way that we cut the data is unduplicated count. So we look at the 3 programs, IB, AP, and DE. We take total enrollment, and the way that you look at it is it's a minimum of one student, one course. So we may have students that are taking more than one IB course or more than one AP course or more than one DE course, but we're counting them as one as opposed to multiple. So you kind of get a really clear synopsis of percentage of students in each program. The way that you look at the percentage, sometimes you look at the percentage, you think only 6% overall, but then we have 14% English learners and then 25% socioeconomically disadvantaged, and then FY stands for foster youth. So we're highlighting these groups because they are also unduplicated groups that are called out and named in our LCAP, and they have specific goals attached to them in our LCAP Goal 1. So when you look at this data, you want to think about the numbers in a way that you have overall 6%. Within that 6%, 14% are English learners.
Quick question.
Yes.
So would this be just Oakmont and Grant Bay, 6% of those?
That is correct. Yes, yes. Thank you for asking that. And then we also, another one of our LCAP metrics is what percentage of students are receiving a C or better within those programs. So of that population, overall 6%, 97% of our students within that student group are receiving C or better. And then the 14% of English learners, of the 14%, 94% are receiving a C or better. And then foster youth is NA because it's a significantly small group, and so we want to be protective of student privacy. So when you get within kind of a small number of group, we don't report out on that publicly. And then socioeconomically disadvantaged. So you see a similar trend, 95% C or better. Okay, so AP courses, same thing. Thinking about the data, overall 33% unduplicated count, as well as looking at percentage of our unduplicated student population named in our LCAP. 17% represent the overall 33%, 0% foster youth, and then 31% are socioeconomically disadvantaged students. C or better, similar trends. I'm going to go quickly because you have it. Okay, DE. And then C or better. Were there any clarifying questions about the data?
Oh, one.
Sorry. Hey, just so I understand, on the overall, the percentage overall, is that's just the unduplicated students percentage? That's not the
No,
whole
that's
student
total
body?
student population.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on data? Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate
And
it.
that concludes our update with regards to our AP, IB, DE programs.
Any general questions and/or comments? Any members of the public would like to address us? Still don't have any cards. This may be the first meeting ever where we did not have one card. All right. This is just, well, when I wasn't here. Yeah. Yeah, people usually come to complain when I'm here. With that, there's no board action on that, so we're going to move right into our next item, which is 7.2. Is there any additional comments by staff? That's the right answer. Pending agenda items. We have a list of our Horizon report that shows what is coming up at our next series of meetings. If there is something that you expect to be on there that is not on there, reach out to either John or me, and we will make sure we get slotted in.
Pete, just want to, the next board meeting, we don't have any agenda items, and we're also moving, so we're likely not going to have anything for a meeting, so it's up to you guys. But technology and furniture and a lot of things will be hustling and bustling around here that week. So, so the next meeting will likely be in our new boardroom. October.
So,
Not the next September one. We won't. That's when we're moving. We don't have any agenda items.
so I will just say we may still have a closed session.
Right.
For us to do the work that we need
Right.
to do on the superintendent evaluation, the next phase. So I will communicate with John. We'll talk about things, and we'll see if that makes sense. I will note that the October 22nd meeting, if you want to note your calendars, that's my birthday, so I'll be looking forward to that. I'll be 1 year older and 1 year closer to retirement. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I would just say really quick on that note, only because I have a son who's a senior at Roseville in the government class. There might be students who, you guys were all smart to come tonight, but there could be students who were planning to come on that date, so we should maybe let them know that it's not happening if we know that it's not happening. So,
They can go to Roseville City. That's where they need to go.
right, they can go to city
Or
council,
Dry-
Placer County Board
or
of
Dry Creek.
Supervisors.
Yeah.
There's lots of options, but I know a lot of them chose this and they had to write down what date they wanted, so just
All right.
watch now.
Let's get a motion to adjourn so these students can get home. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Good night, everyone. Make sure you get your things signed. If you want to come up, we'll sign for you.